I mean, we've had these conversations in the past, and whenever I've been critical of China, you've tried to slap me down and said, look at the state of Britain at the moment. When you saw the Prime Minister arriving in Beijing, did you see an old colonial master coming cap in hand to a new superpower?
First of all, Prime Minister Starmer's visit to China has been a very successful visit. I think it will turn out to be a landmark visit, ushering in a more normal relations between China and Britain. Now, Britain used to be the British Empire. We know about that. And as an empire, it caused a lot of unpleasant things in China-British relations. That's also very well recorded in history. However, at this particular moment, I think both China and Britain need to look forward into the future. We should refuse to be hijacked by what happened in the past. We need to transcend the past and move into the future for mutual engagement, for mutual benefit. And in this spirit, I think while people say the golden era in China-British relations will never come back, being an optimist, allow me to emphasize that we may need to establish the new platinum era in China-British relations.
You're upgrading it from gold to platinum.
Yes, exactly. I think at this particular moment, Britain needs many things which China can really offer. For example, Britain needs foreign direct investment to create more jobs. Britain needs more manufacturing productions. Britain needs more power, for example, and Britain needs a better energy security paradigm. I think in all these important things, China can help. China can help in building up connectivity, including both expressways of all kinds and high-speed railway. So treat China as the very important, or almost the most important megatrend in the world of today for your own benefit.
Right. And do you think then that China should replace America when it comes to a special relationship for us?
I don't think so. The United States has its own role, and we all know that the Pax Americana is starting to fade away, especially after what the United States did to many countries, including what they did to Britain after dismissing what positive roles Britain had played in the war in Afghanistan. I think it is a very important turning point in history. And I think after Pax Americana, all of us need to prepare for Pax Zhonghua or Pax Sinica. So I think we need to realize that China is the most important megatrend. You dismiss China at your own peril and to your own disadvantage. With or without the United
Victor,
States,
sorry to interrupt,
China
but that sounds a bit like a warning. That sounds a bit like a warning.
No, it's not a warning. It's I always believe a megatrend is not a warning. A megatrend is a very pragmatic, a very realistic assessment or prediction for something to come. And with or without the United States, I think China and Britain need to have all the incentives to improve their bilateral relations for mutual benefit.
Okay. But Victor, why, if we're going to be such great friends, why does the Prime Minister and his entourage have to throw away their normal cell phones when they travel to China and use burner phones because they're afraid of having their phones tapped? That's not a sign of friendship, is it?
Well, if they are worried about, for example, being espionaged against, that's not reflection of the realities in China. That reflects some kind of a very dark things going on in their own soul, at the bottom of their soul. They should be very confident about China. China is such a megatrend that China has all the confidence itself. I hope Britain, with its very important past, as well as the present role, as well as the future role to be played by Britain need to have enough confidence in itself rather than worrying its own head off for being espionaged by China.
Let me ask you this question, Victor. 6 members of parliament have had sanctions imposed by China lifted against them. But Tim Lawton, who's also on the line, still has the sanctions hanging over him. Could you explain to him why that is?
Well, I hope he will do more to realize that China is a megatrend, not to be completely disregarded or dismissed or neglected. And he should say things which reflect the realities about China. And he should do things to promote the real fundamental interests of the British people by engaging with China rather than alienating China. China is a factor that if you alienate China, you alienate the fundamental interests of the British people. That's my very real, kind-hearted advice for His Excellency.